Right, so in following that discussion tonight on The Other Kenya, the first thing that comes to mind is the counter narrative. This is something we have dealt with here for some time now. If you remember when we were in Mombasa doing KTN Bottom Line, this was one of the major things that we discussed. What is that counter narrative going to be? What is that strategy that will be put in place, not just by Muslim leaders and scholars, but also by the government? Some of the suggestions that are coming up from the panel tonight, that the government should have a counter radicalization and a strategy to counter violent extremism, something that cannot necessarily be done at government level, but something that needs to make sure it involves the community at every stage, from conception right up until its implementation, because like they said, radicalization is something that happens at the community level. Perhaps that is one way to start towards putting together a counter narrative that needs to come from Muslim leaders and indeed government leaders and just about everyone that is involved in the fight against terror. One of the things perhaps that would help in forming that counter narrative is protection of those that are in the fight against terror. Many will remember the killing of Sheikh Idris, so the government also needs to help in that regard in terms of providing security for those that are making an attempt at providing a counter narrative to radicalization or extremism in this country. The second point that is important to note is unity of purpose, speaking with one voice. We have several Muslim organizations in the country. We've got NAMLIF, the National Muslim Leaders Forum. We've got CIPK, which is the Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya, and SUPKEM, Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims. We need them to speak with one voice so that we know who is saying what, and at that point, once it comes as a very strong united force, then this might help in terms of making that counter narrative that much stronger. When it comes to Muslim leaders and speaking with one voice, it is important, like one of our viewers has said this evening, that the extremists are more visible than the moderates. Many will remember Sheikh Abu Drogo, but we need to start to see Muslim leadership coming out a little stronger and being just as visible, if not more, than those who are preaching extremism. Finally, the last point tonight is in the fight against radicalization, in the fight against terror, because Al-Shabaab and these other groups use Islam incorrectly. Who better knows the truth than Muslims? Therefore, moderate Muslims can take the lead and tell everybody else and involve and explain to the rest of Kenyans how they can together fight the war on terror. That tonight is the point.